Hi there, hope you're staying safe and another Sunday together, and it's great that you're able to manage. Maybe you've managed during the week, but that's great, and delighted to have you here right in my study at this time. You know, over this past year I've taken photography just a wee bit more seriously than I've done before. I used to use a mobile phone, or maybe these binoculars, or even a small camera when I would go on holiday. But just last week on my birthday, I managed to get one or two lenses that can actually really change what things look like for me when I'm taking a photograph. Because if you're trying to take a photograph of some birds, well, what happens is that the slightest noise, they just disappear, and it's just no use. So you can see, look, even this here, let me see. You can see how that suddenly changes. All of a sudden, your perspective on what you're seeing at the moment. But it helps me to get a wee bit closer to what I want to take a photograph of. A new lens like that can just help me see the world in a different way. Just being that wee bit closer with something so small but significant helps me to see and take a photograph in a different way. You know, our story today is like the daily briefings we experience from our government. Jesus' briefing for his followers were calming words in the lull before a pending storm of his basically brutal death, and yet he musters up comforting words that bring powerful and soothing reassurance in an upper room before that swathe of evil plotting and cruel intent, beating and torture just rush in like a tsunami of destruction. What were they? Well, simply, Jesus was saying, let me introduce you to your new forever friend. Jesus' lockdown message in this upper room was not stay at home or stay alert. It was in effect, stay close. Jesus was ready to unlock the vault into the forever friendship of God. You are never, ever going to get as close to God as this. Our time of lockdown has been a real test, and it's been far more testing for some than others. I read recently a response to the description of the coronavirus where we're all in this storm together. Yes, but some of us are in smaller boats than others. In other words, it's a lot harder, riskier, and even more dangerous for some than others. Whether it's because we're older, or we have an underlying health condition, we live on our own, or where we live makes us feel insecure, or we are short of money or food, or the future of our job is uncertain, or our so-called friends have let us down and abandoned us, or our family's not as near as what others are like. All of these just make the boredom, the isolation, the insecurity and fear that bit more acute. It can press down on us, that it leaves us tempted to feel that there's no room for goodness or being in a giving place, or if it does feel like that, it's a drain or a drag. We're trying to survive, let alone help others thrive. Who do we need in times like this? Well, if they're nearby or have a phone or can go alone, one of the options is our family and friends. And indeed, the kindness of strangers. They become our lifelines during a time when, without them, we could just sink. I was online in a Zoom meeting this week with local councillors who brought together local agencies, charities and churches like our own who are out there doing a lot of good. One humbling and remarkable message was clear. They had no shortage of volunteers. It's amazing. Indeed, there was even food banks doing home deliveries, indeed even to Kennishead Flats as well. That's brilliant. What this was telling me is that there were people out there who are not letting this lockdown hold them down. It was unlocked a new lease of life for them. In fact, in this charity I work for, Hope for Justice, we are still rescuing children, for instance in Uganda, during this time. Now I'm on furlough at the moment, but I'm volunteering into the United States Hope for Justice team because in lockdown, sadly, criminals are taking advantage of young girls, starved of friendship in lockdown, who are going online unsupervised and unwittingly being groomed and tricked by traffickers to leave home to meet a so-called boyfriend and putting themselves in danger of not being seen ever again. I was reading articles even this week of how men had done this and thankfully had been caught. So we are putting in place resources for preventing that taking place and ensuring young lives are not lost into the sex trafficking, which is a real problem in the United States. We are unlocking freedom and keeping hope alive. You know, Jesus was taking steps in this lockdown, in this secret upper room, to ensure his followers were ready when he shared about friendship and his own limitations of his friendship that they had known so far. Jesus had been a friend to his followers. He had shared a journey with them, been understanding, wise and supportive, and above all loving. What was a heartache for him, that being Jesus, was that he was not going to be with them for much longer. And indeed, his earthly presence was going to come to an end. In our story, he describes their predicament being very much like an orphan. What a powerful and desperate image. Yet he knew that what he was going to say was there is so much more ahead, including him introducing them to a new forever friend. We've come to know that as the Holy Spirit, who is our way into the forever family of God. He was staying close and helping us to stay close. What can this forever friend, the Spirit, do for us during this time of lockdown to stay close to God? Our forever friend can focus our response to look for the good instead of the bad. The Spirit helps us to choose to speak good words that build up and encourage, and not to nip and hurt and bring others down. Like Jesus, he spoke comfort in a time of fear. He did not let what was outside the upper room shape what he wanted to say there and then. It can be so tempting to go down that spiral of words of doubt and fear and inflict it on others. So instead, today, by the Spirit's help, choose hope, choose joy, choose love. Stay close and choose your words well. So what does that look like? Kind words to those under the same roof as our own. Patient words to those we're on the phone with. Encouraging words to those at the checkout. If we can clap for the NHS on Thursday evening at 8 p.m, we can use our attitude and words to anyone else who is keeping this country going. Someone once said, "Did I offer peace today? Did I bring a smile to someone's face? Did I say words of healing? Did I let go of my anger and resentment? Did I forgive? Did I love? The person said that these are the true questions to ask. Another truth about staying close. Our forever friend enables us to stay focused. Jesus was focused at this point in the upper room. He knew what they needed before they knew what they needed it themselves. He stayed on task. He knew they would need a forever present friend, especially when he himself would be physically ripped away from them. For us, staying focused during this time can be so hard when there's not the usual focus. And yet, the previous busyness or the predictable routine may have been a distraction from what needs to be our one true focus in life. Today, I'm asking, what is that true focus as a follower of Jesus? We have the time to think about it. Let us use that time not to fill it with TV, sleeping more, or reading to our heart's content. Let's look out. Let's think. Let's be focused. Stay close to God. Our story says that the godless can't see Jesus at work. In other words, they can't focus on seeing how God is at work in the world. So what an opportunity as Jesus followers to be given the eyes of faith. We have the chance, if we take it, pray and start seeing what God sees. We can make a difference. The prescription for these glasses, well, they're long overdue. I recall when I was 12 putting on my first pair of glasses. It was like a new world I discovered, and yet it had been in front of me all this time. I just didn't have the good eyes to see it well. Our forever friend prescribes a godly focus to stay close. The challenge is that we need to see it, and we need to start seeing things that need to be done. And we wonder what on earth we are supposed to do when we start seeing them. Well, it's just as well that our forever friend empowers us into action. Physical action. In other words, being practical and following the Jesus way, which is his new commandment to love. Some of them might say, well, Alistair, my physical days are over. Well, maybe, but as we live and breathe, there is a will and a way. Let me tell you that what that might look like. Without even getting out this chair of mine I've got in front of me, as you start seeing things, start writing them down. Points for prayer, and date them, and watch and wait for God to work. And add to them daily. And join a prayer chain at Carnwadric. When a name comes to mind, give them a call. Or get someone else to call them for you. Make a donation to a good cause. Carnwadric Church for a start. We are here to do good in this community. Your hard-earned good money will go to a good cause right on your doorstep with Carnwadric Church. As they say, charity starts at home. So we're putting a giving page on our church website, and we need the resources to do the good in the community, especially when these coronavirus lockdown measures are over. That takes practical action. See all that you can do? And we haven't even left our seat yet. Imagine what happens next when we get out off our feet and use our hands, and we're allowed out of our front doors and do what God gives us the chance to do. I was told early on in my following of Jesus, God equips for those he calls. God equips for those he calls. And that's not because I'm a minister, it's because I'm a follower, just like you, of Jesus. Our forever friend will not leave us stranded in doing good. We will see God at work in ways we never anticipated before. Why? Well, we are putting ourselves where God is, and he is ready. Stay close where God is at work. During this lockdown, Ruth has put up a to-do list on a blackboard in our kitchen. She's told me that this list has been there before. Well, through this lockdown I have seen it, and I've started using the extra time that I've been blessed with to finish off the list. Now, there's still things to be done. Even in lockdown, there are still things needing to be done for God. They may be different to what we thought we were going to do, but through this time and this lockdown, the noise of our lives have unlocked that whisper of God's voice in the silence of our lives. Carnwadric Church had a daily briefing to its members, and this is it: stay close. And if you want clarity to what that means, are we listening to our new forever friend who has so much to show us, because he will lead us and will help us to look for the good? Will we focus our time and energy and direct our practical action when appropriate right here in Carnwadric, or wherever we are, listening, because God is good, God is big, and God is before us, and staying close to him will do us a power of good, not just for ourselves, but for so many others. Now take care, God bless, and stay close.